God create hell? Yes or no?
She said yes.
Yes.
Okay. Does your God create the rules of the universe, including the criteria by which souls are judged?
Yes.
Does anything happen that doesn't go according to your God's will?
No.
Then your God is ultimately responsible for everything, including the people who he sends to hell.
That is so messed up. I mean,
Yeah, that logic stuff.
This conclusion of hell is a popular one among many people today, but it's not exactly right, bruh. Instead of picking on old church ladies to answer complex theological questions, in this video, I will offer what C.S. Lewis wrote in response to such ideas about hell in his 1945 book, The Great Divorce. It's about a man who suddenly finds himself aboard a bus in hell. The bus takes him and some other passengers around a strange, eerie world referred to as Greytown. It looks a lot like the transit map from Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Greytown is analogous to hell. The bus takes our protagonist and the other passengers to a cliff, which beyond it was this beautiful river and a valley and a mountain. The valley is analogous to heaven. The passengers step out, and mysterious spirits approach them. Ooh! One of the spirits, Len, approaches one of the bus passengers known as Big Ghost. Len recognized Big Ghost from their life on Earth, but Len had killed a man on Earth. Big Ghost was aghast that Len was a spirit living in the beautiful valley, despite the vastly more virtuous life that Big Ghost had lived. Len tried to convince Big Ghost to go with him into the valley, which is heaven, but Big Ghost refused. And he desired to return to Greytown. C.S. Lewis has made 4 inferences about hell in this section of the book. First, those in hell are invited to leave hell and enter heaven. Secondly, some of the spirits in heaven can communicate with those in hell. Thirdly, living a highly virtuous life is not the criteria for going to heaven or hell. Fourth, for whatever reason, the people in hell did not want to leave. Later, the spirit of George MacDonald, a famous author and poet, he greets our protagonist and he escorts him around Greytown to see the sights. George shows our protagonist a woman. She's being visited by the spirit of her earthly brother. The woman is in mourning, not because she's in hell, but because her son, Michael, was in heaven. The woman's brother pleaded with the woman to come into the valley and enter heaven, where her son Michael was. She objected that she didn't want to be with a god that took her son from her. She wanted her son Michael to come be with her in Greytown. That's when the spirit of her brother, she told the woman, Michael never belonged to you in the first place. C.S. Lewis's next inference is that nothing we have on earth belongs to us. It was selfishness that kept the woman in hell. She wanted to stay in hell because she didn't want to let her son go. Next, George MacDonald takes our protagonist to see a man with a little lizard on his shoulder. The lizard was lust, and it was a burden to the man. An angel told the man with the lizard on his shoulder that in order for him to make it into the kingdom of heaven, the lizard would need to be killed. The process will be extremely painful, but it won't kill the man. The man eventually agrees, and the angel transforms the lizard into a beautiful horse, which the man proceeds to ride in the direction of the mountain. This inference by C.S. Lewis explains that in the state we are now, we cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Our sinful self must die. Now that we have this kind of metaphor of hell, let's circle back around to Matt. He asks,
did your God create hell?
The answer to that is yes, but it's not that simple, because God is existence and nothing can exist apart from him. Hell, however, is the absence of God's love, or agape in Greek, godly love.
Does your God create the rules of the universe, including the criteria by which souls are judged?
Obviously, yes.
Does anything happen that doesn't go according to your God's will?
Yes. But it's not that simple either. God gives man, not complete, but an amount of free will, meaning God's will ultimately be done, but he allows man some of his own choices. Allowing man some of his own choices is the key.
Then your God is ultimately responsible for everything, including the people who he sends to hell.
However, if one of the decisions that man is allowed is to choose to be apart from God, then the answer to Matt's final point is actually no, God does not send people to hell. This is exactly the message of the Great Divorce. The people in hell in the Great Divorce did not want to be with God. They wanted to be in hell. Some atheists have actually finally drawn this conclusion to its end and have admitted that if the Christian God is true, they don't want any part with him. Atheism wants to assert that there is a list of reasons for itself, but they all boil down to one thing: pride. and I'll punctuate this video with a quote from The Great Divorce, and some of the most powerful words C.S. Lewis ever wrote. There are only two kinds of people in the end. Those who say to God, thy will be done, and those to whom God says, in the end, thy will be done.